Alright, welcome this good evening. In the house today, this is Manenos Media, and we are having beautiful ladies and cops in the house from the Ministry of Education, and we're going to talk about the CBC and its effects, Gudradi. And just before we get to shift into, my name is your host, John Bosco Dennis. Hand you.
Thank you so much. Good evening. I'm the co-host, Lois Manorio, and we'll be having a discussion about CBC and its effect. And in front of us here we have some ministries of education. Like we have the lady here from Kitui, and we have the CS of Education in general.
Yeah, so we're just going to brief it directly, and please may you introduce with us Madam Gitonga, the Ministry of Education for Kenya.
Okay, thank you so much. As we've heard, I'm Gitonga Ann, the Ministry of Education CS. I'm here to discuss about the computer curriculum-based, the CBC at Y. Thank you so much.
Right, shifting from the right lady, Rose Paul from Kitui, you can introduce yourself to the Body Smiles Media.
Thank you very much for hosting me today in this studio. As you have heard, my name is Rose Paul, Minister of Education from Kitui County.
Alright, so going directly to our conversation today, we won't take much, but today we want to bring something open to the parents back home there, and we just want to bring it open that we know the meaning of CBC, its effects, and the positive bits and the negative bits, and therefore before we get to shift, I was very much terrified to see a video by last week, and therefore this totally made me to shift and bring about this discussion with the Ministry of Education and also from Kitui, because the video that I saw was very much pending from Kitui when a child was seen cut a hen, then the hen was seen run away from the maji. Ilikimbia tu kutoka maji ilikuwa imewekwa. Kwa hivyo this video brought about a lot of discussions in the media, and therefore I thought it's good for us to have the ministry at large so that they may explain to it on the big details about the CBC. So shifting onto you, Madam Gitonga at the Ministry of Education of Kenya, how are you prepared for the CBC, and have you really taken the precautions, and have you really taken the civic education to the parents, or what you step for that?
Okay, thank you. The CBC, that is the competence-based curriculum, it's a system under the 2663 system, which has come to replace the 844 system. And this CBC, we just, as a ministry, as a group, we sat and think of it being wise that we implement these CBCs. When you notice that many students are failing in their exams, and when you come to us in a student, what's the reason as to why you're failing? You come and notice that this student may be weak in a subject, and that's why we took this CBC and we want to implement it, because it was going to cater for what's best in a student. Because when you force a student maybe to read what the student doesn't want, or what the student even doesn't have interest in, you're going to come and notice that you're going to be misusing maybe finances when you're trying to make the students read, and that's why you find that many students trying to commit suicide. Yeah, thank you.
Alright, and I'm very much interested for your answers, and I think the parents back at home, you've heard the benefits and the grandeur of the CBC, and therefore I think it's better for you to adopt the system because the government has taken the initiatives, and it's well checking forward to see the first cohort reported come next year, 2022. And just going direct to the lady in department from Kitui, how are you prepared in receiving the first cohort of the CBC Camp 2022?
Okay, thank you. We are very much prepared, as we are more training, more teachers, so that they can help our students. And pupils back at home, back at the. We are much prepared. We have trained a lot of teachers for now. There are more teachers on the teachers training colleges, and also some teachers are in the universities being taught on how they will be dealing with the students who will be joining the high schools come early next year. Okay, and we have also built more classes. In every high school, we have more than 2 classes which we have projected already, and we are looking forward to have more classes in order to contain more students from back in our primary schools. And we are also furthering more funds in the government so that they can help back our students, so that they can equip their mentality and they can also improve their education. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your compliments. That's right, Madam Rose Paul from Kitui, and we're very much grateful for your feedback in that. And therefore, shifting back to you, Madam Gitonga, the Ministry of Education in Kenya, we just have some questions for you that we are very much delighted to ask you this evening. And there have some been complications that the CBC is facing some tough consequences because picking it from the government that just rested the other day, Uhuru's government is shifting to Ruto's government. How are you taking things, as in how is the progress about the CBC from the transition from Uhuru's regime to Ruto's regime?
Okay, thank you so much. As the Ministry of Education, we're trying to analyze and first scope and ask several questions from the president. So because he said this, as it was said, as rumors were spreading earlier ago, people thought that when President Ruto would enter the government, it would lower the CBC thing will be cut off. But as from the president's proposal, he said that this CBC is going to continue. So we're trying to ask. There was a certain program which was supposed to implement on the students who are in grade 3, who are supposed to transition to the other level. So we are trying to continue with this program, since we notice that many students are more interested in this and they are getting to interact with their teachers. They are trying to do all their work. So this transition doesn't have any big difference, as the government still okay with the process and the programs which were earlier arranged.
All right, thank you, Madam Gitonga. That's the Ministry of Education, and we really recognize you for the strength that you've taken enough to ensuring that Kenya, we're moving forward in the bit of the sector for education. And therefore, just receiving tweets from the people, like one of the friends is asking, how is the CBC going to take the initiatives of the, let me read the question for you. How is the government going to ensure that there is a subsequent flowing of funds and equipment needed by the students and the pupils to carry on with their studies? So this question comes into a bit details because, for example, you see, according to how I pick it from my grounds, the person is trying to ask, how is the government providing some of the essential issues, like the one I was talking about from the Madam Ross Paul from Kitui, of children being told to come to school with chicken. They also told to come with some very essential things, like, for example, they told to come with knives, of which it's very difficult because there could be issues which could rise in the classes, and these kids could even begin toiling and fighting with their knives. So how has the government taken the initiative about it?
Okay, thank you. First, on the issue that parents were more complaining and students being asked to come with maybe some elements like chicken and foodstuffs. We are trying to change some of the things, and as for the government, there are some funds which are released by the government last week, and we are trying to see if every school which is located in many places in this country, we are going to cater for those expenses. At least the parents should complain before earlier on the fees they were making, they are paying, it was used in some development of the school, and this fee is still the same that's being used in this CBC thing. So the parents shouldn't complain, but the government also, as the government have sat and decided that some of the equipment that they are being asked to come with are going to be provided by the government. You know.
Back to you, CS Gitonga. What led to this CBC introduction, like the understanding of CBC. What led you to introduce the CBC and do away with the 844 system?
Thank you. Once more, what led to us changing this system of education is that we noticed many students were committing suicide every now and then. In interviewing some of the schools, we noticed that many students have been forced to study some subjects such as chemistry, which they don't see it more important in their life careers. So that's why we sat as the government or as the CSs and thought of it twice that when we try to implement this CBC thing, many students are going to be much more and more creative, that they're going to produce what they're best in, rather than being forced to study things that even they don't understand, and therefore as try to reduce the rate at which students have made suicide without a big best introducing this CBC thing.
Thank you so much, CS Tonga and CS Rospol, for the arrival here in the Buddy Smiles Media House. We are so much pleased to have you, and thank you for answering our questions. We will feel so grateful next time if you also appear to our interview.
Alright, just taking it from the bits of my co-host, my fantastic, amazing Hunter Wanka, just pick it amazingly from our interviewers today, that CS Rose Gitonga, very much delightful, and picking it also from the Madame Rose Paul from Kitui, very much welcomed, and you can just have to come and shake hands with us as we conclude our conversation today. Very much delighted, ladies, and feel much welcome to us next time. Thank you, very much proud of you. So, thank you for the conversation. This is editing for electronic media. Buddy Smiles Media. Welcome. Stop.
See you next Friday.